the veil between worlds, how the night unlocks your hidden spiritual DNA. I need you to listen closely, because if you've been noticing strange things happening at night, visions, voices, patterns, symbols, shadows that don't feel like just shadows, then this video is your confirmation. You're not crazy. You're not cursed. You are awakening. And not in the way the mainstream spiritual world talks about. This isn't about love and light. This is about power, real power, ancient power, the kind of power that doesn't just glow, it reshapes reality. We don't talk about this often because the world isn't ready for the truth. But in the silence of the night, when everything is still, when the noise of the world fades, your deeper senses come online. Your soul begins to remember. Your gifts begin to return. And if you're seeing the 7 signs we're about to reveal, then you are not just awakening, you are being reclaimed by the part of you that was buried in lifetimes past. The part of you that was feared, silenced, exiled. The part of you that carries dark light, not evil but unfiltered truth. And that truth is the one thing this world has kept you from until now. The first sign happens when the night no longer feels like sleep. It starts feeling like a portal. You lie down, and instead of resting, you begin to sense things. You feel sensations in your body, energy moving through your spine, heat in your hands, buzzing in your third eye. You might even begin to hear whispers, not from outside, but inside your field. You're not imagining it. You're tuning into layers of reality that most people block out. Night is the time when the conscious mind softens and the subconscious opens. This is when the deeper realms become accessible. If you're feeling this, it means your field is shifting. Your system is beginning to vibrate at the frequency of the veil. And once you vibrate there, things begin to visit, not to haunt you, but to activate you. The second sign is even deeper. You begin to wake up at specific times. Always between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m., what the ancients called the spiritual window. This isn't just a coincidence. This is the hour when your soul is most untethered from the matrix. Your guides, your ancestors, and yes, even your shadow self can reach you more clearly. If you find yourself waking up consistently at this hour, especially with a sudden jolt of awareness, as if someone just whispered your name, it's not just insomnia, it's initiation. Something is trying to speak to you. The question is, are you listening? Or are you still trying to fall back asleep in a world that's trying to wake you up? Let me ask you something. What's the first thing your mind does when you wake up at 3 a.m.? Do you reach for your phone? Do you panic? Or do you breathe and listen? Because in that moment, the entire spiritual realm is listening to you. Your thoughts carry more weight. Your intentions are amplified. Your fear can open doors, but so can your presence. This is where your training begins. Not in temples, not in rituals, but in the middle of the night when no one is watching and your soul is the most honest. The third sign is undeniable. Your dreams become more intense, sometimes terrifying, sometimes prophetic. You see people who've passed on. You visit places you've never seen but feel deeply familiar. You experience symbols, snakes, eyes, mirrors, staircases, forests, blood, fire. These aren't just dreams. They're downloads. Your soul is beginning to travel, and it's bringing back data. The dark powers within you don't rise through books. They rise through experience. And in the dream realm, you begin to reclaim what you once knew. You may even begin to speak languages you've never learned, move through dimensions, or face entities that try to test your frequency. All of this is sacred. All of this is part of your awakening. But here's the deeper truth. The more you fear the dream realm, the more power you give up. Because fear feeds the very forces that seek to block your awakening. But if you learn to become lucid, to breathe, to anchor, to observe, you begin to master the dream space. And when you master that space, you unlock abilities in this one. You wake up different. You speak differently. You feel a strange clarity that others don't understand. That's not a glitch. That's you returning. The fourth sign is subtle but powerful. You begin to crave solitude at night, not just because you're introverted, but because you feel your energy pulling inward. You might find yourself going for late walks, sitting in the dark, lighting candles without knowing why. You're not trying to be spooky. Your soul is preparing to receive. Night is the realm of receiving, of intuition, of integration. And if you feel pulled towards stillness at night, it means your energy body is building a new architecture. You're being rewired. And that rewiring needs silence. It needs space. It needs darkness. Because darkness is not the absence of light, it's the womb of light. Creation begins in the dark, and so does power. The fifth sign is when technology begins to glitch around you at night. Your phone freezes, lights flicker, electronics buzz. You feel static in the air. This is not paranoia. This is energetic interference. Your field is expanding and technology is responding. But more than that, it's your presence beginning to affect the fabric of reality. When your frequency starts to shift, artificial systems don't know how to handle it. They stutter because you've become a living signal. And signals disrupt systems, especially systems built on control. So if you're noticing tech acting strange, don't freak out. Smile. It means you're becoming undeniable. The sixth sign is when your intuition sharpens like a blade. You begin to know things you shouldn't logically know. You feel people's intentions before they speak. You sense when something is off. You avoid dangers without knowing why. Your gut becomes your compass and your body becomes your oracle. This is your inner technology coming online. And it often activates at night when your nervous system is more relaxed and your internal signals are clearer. If you're picking up more signals than usual, if your dreams are bleeding into your waking life, if you're predicting things that end up happening, this is not coincidence. This is calibration. Your dark powers are syncing with your intuitive core. And the seventh sign, the one that shifts everything, is when you stop being afraid of the dark. Not just the physical darkness, but the metaphorical one, the unknown, the unseen, the parts of yourself you used to run from. One day you realize you're no longer scared of being alone at night. You're no longer afraid of what's hiding in the shadows. In fact, a part of you feels at home there. That's the deepest sign that your true dark powers are awakening. Because you've stopped running from your shadow and started walking with it. You've made peace with the parts of you that once terrified you. You've integrated the exiled, and now you carry a different kind of light. Not the kind that blinds, the kind that pierces. So I'll ask you the real question now. If the night is not here to frighten you, what is it trying to show you? What if everything you were taught to fear after dark was actually a doorway? What if your greatest power was buried not in the light, but in the silence after midnight? How the night unlocks your hidden spiritual DNA. The night is not simply the absence of sunlight. It is the thinning of the veil, the moment when the invisible layers of reality begin to bleed into this one. If you've been feeling this, you're not alone. I've felt it too. We all have at some point. That strange moment of stillness when the world goes quiet and you feel like something ancient is watching, not in malice, but in memory. You see, the night doesn't just reveal the world outside, it mirrors the world within. And when your dark powers begin to awaken, you start to see through the illusions that daytime hides. You begin to see energy, feel timelines, sense unspoken truths. It's not fantasy. It's the forgotten language of your soul finally reactivating. Many people ask me, why now? Why is my power awakening at night? And the answer is simple but unsettling, because the world is shifting, and with it the old codes are returning. Not the ones found in books or taught in surface-level spiritual circles. I'm talking about the codes buried in your bones. The ones that have been passed down through bloodlines, through soul contracts, through lifetimes of silent preparation. Some of us were never meant to awaken through soft meditation and incense. Some of us came here to awaken through pressure, through disruption, through the dark. Because only in the dark can you see the stars inside yourself. Only in the dark can your true vision come online. But this awakening comes with responsibility. The night is beautiful, but it's also raw. It reveals everything: your fears, your projections, your shadows, your power. And that's why many people run from it. Because when you look into the dark, it looks back. And what you see is not a monster, it's you, unfiltered. Can you handle that? Can you hold the weight of your own gaze? Because the moment you stop fearing what you find in that silence, you become untouchable. You stop chasing light to feel safe. You stop hiding your depth to make others comfortable. You walk differently. You speak differently. That's when the world shifts around you. Because you've remembered that you are not here to be saved. You are here to reclaim. Have you ever noticed that your thoughts are louder at night? It's not because the world is quieter. It's because your soul has fewer distractions. And when that happens, something deeper begins to rise. Old memories, strange visions, sudden inspiration. Maybe you felt chills for no reason. Maybe you've seen flashes of light or movement in your peripheral vision. Maybe you've started hearing a subtle hum, a tone, a frequency that seems to come from nowhere. These are not hallucinations. These are activations. You are beginning to operate on a different bandwidth. Your inner antenna is picking up signals that aren't accessible during the noise of the day. And if you can stay with it without fear, without needing to explain it away, you'll notice something profound. You're no longer the one seeking answers. The answers are now coming to you. I've met people all over the world who've told me the same thing. It always happens at night. That's when everything changes. And it's true. Night is the realm of the unconscious, and the unconscious is where your power lives. It's where you buried your rage, your intuition, your sensuality, your voice, your vision. And now it's all coming back. That's why so many of us feel restless after midnight. We're not tired. We're being summoned. We're being rewritten. The codes are running in the background of your soul. And if you stay present, you'll begin to see the pattern. You'll begin to hear the whisper that says, you were never broken. You were only buried. So here's what I want you to do the next time it happens. When you wake up at 3 a.m., don't reach for your phone. Don't distract yourself. Just sit with it. Close your eyes. Breathe. Ask yourself, what part of me is trying to come online right now? Because it's not just your body that woke up. It's your soul. And it's reaching out for your attention. This is the moment when you either scroll back into sleep or rise into awareness. And those who choose to rise, who choose to meet the night with open eyes and an open heart, will find that what they feared was never the dark. It was their own limitless potential waiting quietly behind the curtain of noise. The soul's rebellion, why the darkness is calling you now. There is a rebellion happening inside you. Not a rebellion of chaos or anger, but a soul-level uprising. A sacred defiance against everything that has kept your power dormant. You feel it, don't you? That quiet roar inside your chest that grows louder after midnight. It's not anxiety. It's not insomnia. It's your soul remembering that it didn't come here to conform. It came here to transform. And the darkness? It's not your enemy. It's your mirror. It reflects what's been buried, what's been silenced, what's been forgotten. When you feel the pull toward the night, when you feel energized by the moon, when your creativity surges and your consciousness expands as the world sleeps, it's because your soul is rebelling against the cage. And the cage isn't out there, it's the version of you that agreed to be small. This is why the darkness is calling you now. Because you're finally ready, not to escape, but to become. To become the version of yourself that doesn't need permission. The version that no longer waits for proof of worth. The version that doesn't fear its own shadow. You are awakening because the version of you that was pretending is dying. And the real you, the ancient you, the infinite you, is stepping forward. That's why you've been feeling strange. That's why you've been craving depth, silence, solitude. You're not broken. You're becoming whole. And wholeness doesn't come from avoiding the dark. It comes from facing it and claiming what's yours inside it. You may begin to notice something else happening in this stage. Synchronicity. Patterns, numbers, signs, animal messengers, dreams that carry messages, repeated phrases you hear in different places. The universe is speaking in symbols. And the part of you that's reawakening, the dark, intuitive part, understands this language. You don't need to analyze it to death. You just need to listen. Your body knows. Your energy field knows. Your soul knows. These signs are not just random, they are echoes of your frequency aligning with a larger rhythm. A rhythm that has been waiting for you to stop resisting your own depth. When you begin to live in sync with that intelligence, your life becomes a portal. And portals don't ask for permission to open, they open when the vibration is right. But here's something most people won't tell you. Once your dark powers awaken, there is no going back. You will never again be able to lie to yourself without feeling the ache. You will never again be able to tolerate environments that drain you. You will never again be able to shrink for the comfort of others without feeling your soul go silent. Because your soul, it's awake now. It's online, and it wants truth. It wants alignment. It wants everything you used to fear. And this is the real test. Not whether you can awaken, but whether you can hold your awakening when the world tries to pull you back into pretending. At this level, your energy becomes your compass. You start to notice how your body responds to people, to spaces, to situations. You no longer override your gut. You no longer ignore your inner yes, your inner no. That's not arrogance. That's energetic sovereignty. And sovereignty is one of the most dangerous things you can carry in a world built on compliance. That's why some people will fall away. Not because they're bad, but because your vibration no longer provides the echo they're looking for. Don't chase them. Don't explain yourself. Just keep rising, because your power will attract those who were coded to recognize you. And when that happens, you'll know you've crossed into the next layer of your path. Let me ask you something intimate now, something you may not have been ready to hear before. What if your sensitivity isn't a weakness, but a weapon? What if your late-night visions, your emotional intensity, your deep inner knowing, that thing you've been told to hide, is actually the map back to your original self? We've been conditioned to fear these gifts because they don't fit into the mold of logic and control. But the truth is, the deeper laws of reality don't run on logic. They run on frequency, on intention, on presence. And the more you honor your night self, the version of you that rises when the world sleeps, the more you'll remember how to create with energy, not effort, with embodiment, not explanation. So now that you know, now that you've seen and felt the signs, now that your body is confirming truths your mind still struggles to describe, I'll tell you what happens next. You choose. You choose to keep awakening. You choose to trust the signs. You choose to stop second-guessing what your soul has already confirmed. You choose to walk the path of power quietly, deeply, and consistently. Because this isn't about theatrics. It's about embodiment. And the more you embody, the more the unseen forces around you begin to shift. The shadows no longer come to test you, they come to respect you. They recognize you. Because you've become what you were always meant to be, a guardian of the dark light, the one who walks through the night not to escape, but to lead others out. Now that this truth is alive in you, there's no pretending you didn't hear it. You can't unknow what has been activated in your soul. You can try to return to the older rhythms, to the comfort of numbing routines and surface-level distractions, but you'll feel the tension in every step. That's how awakening works. It doesn't ask for your permission, it calls. And once you answer, your life starts to rearrange itself. You'll lose things. You'll lose people. You'll lose the version of yourself that was built to survive, but not to remember. And in that loss, something greater will rise. You, unfiltered. You, sovereign. You, luminous in your darkness. It's a strange gift, isn't it? This sacred loneliness that comes with awakening. You begin to see through everything: small talk, false humility, performative kindness, spiritual ego. And sometimes it hurts, because you just want to feel normal again. But what even is normal in a world that forgot how to feel? You weren't made to be normal. You were made to be a threshold, a portal, a reminder. Someone who walks into a room and shifts the frequency without saying a word. That's who you are when you stop apologizing for your power. When you stop dimming just to blend in. When you finally realize that your presence is the message. So the next time you wake up in the middle of the night, I want you to remember this. You're not alone. You're not broken. You're not lost. You're remembering. You're being summoned by the parts of yourself that were never meant to live in daylight. The parts that hold the raw, unfiltered truth of your soul. The parts that don't need to be seen to be powerful. The parts that the world tried to tame but couldn't touch. And in that silence, in that moment between the waking and the dreaming, ask yourself one question: what if everything the world told me to fear was actually the key to my liberation? Because that's the paradox, isn't it? The dark is not where you lose yourself, it's where you find the version of you that was never afraid to begin with. The version that remembers how to walk through fire without burning. The version that doesn't just survive the night, but becomes it. And once you become the night, once you stop resisting your own depth, you realize something profound. You were never here to chase the light. You are the light. Aussie, rooted, unshakable. The kind of light that doesn't flicker in the wind, but burns in the void. And we need you. Not a copy of someone else's awakening. Not a watered-down version of your truth. We need you exactly as you are, code intact. Because every time you rise, someone else remembers it's possible. Every time you choose integrity over illusion, someone else realigns. Every time you stop pretending and start embodying, you shift the grid. We don't heal the world by fixing it. We heal the world by becoming so whole, so clear, so true that the world has no choice but to remember itself through us. So here's your final invitation. Tonight, when the world goes quiet, don't scroll, don't run, don't numb. Sit with your breath. Sit with the ache. Sit with the strange strength rising in your chest. And instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what is trying to be born through me? Because that's what this is. Not a breakdown, not a glitch in the system. It's a birth, a remembering, a return. You see, there's a reason why your awakening didn't happen in a temple or a retreat or a perfect moment. It happened during the night. It happened in the chaos, in the confusion, in the shadows, because that's where truth lives. Not the curated truth, not the sanitized truth, but the raw, trembling, undeniable truth of who you really are. The world doesn't tell you this part. The world teaches you to wait for clarity, for signs, for someone to come and validate your knowing. But your dark powers, they don't wait. They erupt. They crash through the lies you were taught to live in. And when they do, they don't ask for your permission. They ask for your presence. Can you hold it? Can you stay when everything inside you wants to run? Because that's the moment your power is forged, not in the light, but in the places you thought would destroy you. And maybe that's why you've always felt different. Maybe that's why you've never quite fit in. Because deep down, you didn't come here to blend in. You came here to remember, to walk a different path, to transmit something ancient through your eyes, your voice, your frequency. You knew this wouldn't be easy. Your soul signed up for this level of intensity. That's why the night doesn't scare you anymore. Because it's familiar. Because you've walked through darker realms in other lifetimes and carried codes back with you. That's what people feel when they meet you but can't explain. You're not just deep, you're remembered. You are a living echo of something the world forgot, and now, through you, it's returning. You don't need to convince anyone of this. You don't need to prove it. In fact, the more you try to explain your awakening, the more it slips through words. Because the truth is, this kind of power doesn't speak through language, it speaks through resonance. People feel it, they feel your field. They sense the gravity of your presence. And that's the real activation. Not what you say, but what you are. That's why silence has become your sanctuary. That's why solitude feels like medicine. Because in the silence, the distortion fades. And what remains is you, pure signal. No filter, no mask, no performance. Just presence. And that presence is what dismantles illusion without even raising a voice. You want to know something most people never discover? The dark isn't just where you find pain. It's where you find permission. Permission to be whole. Permission to be intense. Permission to be powerful, even when no one understands it. The darkness doesn't require you to fix yourself first. It welcomes you as you are. And in that acceptance, you find a new kind of healing. Not the healing that says, let me fix what's wrong with me, but the healing that says there was never anything wrong to begin with. That's the kind of power that cannot be controlled, because it doesn't come from performance, it comes from integration. It comes from owning every part of your being, even the parts that made others uncomfortable. And now you're stepping into that timeline, the one where you trust yourself so deeply that even when the world questions you, you don't flinch. The one where your boundaries are sacred, where your rituals are non-negotiable, where your presence alone shifts rooms, where the night no longer feels heavy but holy, because it is. It always was. You just needed to remember that your darkness was never the opposite of your light. It was the source of it. And now that you've remembered, you owe it to no one to shrink again. You are not here to play small. You are not here to apologize for your intuition. You are not here to make your magic digestible to those still afraid of their own. So let me leave you with this: the signs you've been seeing, the dreams, the patterns, the waking up at 3 a.m., the visions, the chills, the shifts in your body, the sudden clarity, it's all real. It's not a phase. It's not a coincidence. It's an invitation. And not everyone will receive it. Not everyone will say yes, but you did. You're still here. You're still listening. That means something sacred has already begun. And now, the question is not, will I awaken? The question is, how fully am I willing to live what I already know? That's the real initiation. Not learning more, but becoming more of what you already are. There will be moments, even after this awakening, when doubt returns. When the world's noise tries to drown out the clarity you've found. When you question whether the signs were real, whether the voice you heard in the silence was just your imagination. This is natural. It is part of the path. The matrix is designed to pull you back into sleep. But now you hold something it cannot touch. Awareness. You've seen behind the curtain. You've touched the edge of your soul. You've remembered that the darkness is not your enemy, it's your origin. And from that origin, you can create a life that is sacred, sovereign, and unapologetically yours. So when doubt comes, don't fight it. Don't shame it. Just recognize it as the echo of an old frequency, and then choose again and again to remain awake. You must understand, awakening is not a moment. It is a rhythm, a returning, a remembering, over and over again in deeper and more subtle layers. There will be days when you feel invincible, when the signs are clear, your energy is aligned, and your path is illuminated. And there will be nights when you feel lost again, when your shadow rises to test your commitment. These are not setbacks, they are initiations. Each one is an opportunity to embody what you've already seen. Each one is an invitation to trust not what you see, but what you know. And the more you honor the dark as your ally, the more you will find that even in your most silent, uncertain moments, you are still moving forward. Not because of willpower, but because your soul has already chosen this path. All you have to do now is keep walking. And as you walk, others will notice. Not because you're louder, not because you're preaching, but because something about you feels ancient, unshakable. Your presence will become medicine. Your silence will become a sanctuary. People will come to you not even knowing why, drawn by the resonance of someone who has faced their own night and did not flinch. You will speak less, but every word will carry weight. You will act with intention, and that intention will ripple through timelines. This is the true essence of dark power. It is not domination. It is not control. It is the quiet, magnetic force of someone who no longer fears their own wholeness. Someone who has become undeniable. So now I leave you with this final transmission. You are not becoming powerful. You are remembering that you always were. The signs were never outside you, they were you calling yourself home. The darkness was never a test, it was a mirror. And now that you've seen, felt, and remembered, the work is not to chase more signs, but to live as the sign. Let your life be the portal. Let your presence be the activation. Let your night self rise and take its rightful place within you, not as something to hide, but as something to honor. You are not here to fear the dark. You are here to be the one who walks through it with their head held high. And for those who still sleep, still fear, still forget, you will be the light they didn't know they were looking for.